Keeping customers is so much cheaper than finding new ones, and your brand actually plays a really key part in that process. Now, oftentimes when people think about branding, they're thinking of like fonts, color palettes, things like that. But when we think of branding in this narrowed mindset, we leave out one of the biggest pieces of what makes a brand and what about that brand gets people coming back. And we're going to be diving into that today. But before we do, my name is Hunter Myers. I am the face and mind behind Verger Design Co., which is a branding agency that helps queer and women-owned businesses who are resisting showing up in their marketing and sales, oftentimes because they don't feel connected with their brand. And on this channel, we typically treat branding like dating because both require chemistry, commitment, and a killer first impression. But today, we're going to be talking about the customer experience. Now, when we think about marketing, we are oftentimes thinking about the first part of a customer's experience. We're thinking about all the touch points it takes before they make a purchase. But that leaves out a massive part of your customer's journey. And I want us to think about dating for a second, because for your customer, this is like dating someone who is treating them really well up front. They get married and then the person completely changes. They ghost them, they leave them behind, they stop putting in the effort. And I'm sure all of us have heard that for a marriage to work, you have to continue putting in effort post that time at the altar. And the same is true for your customer relationships. Now, I talk about this a lot in my 5-part client attraction framework. But what we're really going to be focusing on today is this final part, which is the happily ever after stage. Now, before we dive into that, we got to talk about why this is actually important, right? Like, you're out here marketing. Why should you care about customer retention as well and putting in just as much effort, if not more, into after the customer makes a purchase? Well, if you haven't heard, there's this term called customer lifetime value, which is essentially the amount of money that a customer is going to spend with your business, company, and brand over the entirety of the relationship. And the really cool thing is retaining those customers is what increases that customer lifetime value. And the higher your CLV, the less you have to spend on the marketing upfront to get new clients and customers. So the goal then with your efforts and building these experiences for people should be to increase your customer lifetime value. And that is exactly what your brand can do if you work on building the right kind of post-buying experience. Now, I want to tell you a story about a brand that I love to use as an example here because I think they are truly killing it in this happily ever after phase. And this is Chewy. So if you are not a pet owner and you don't know about Chewy, Chewy is essentially a pet food and supplies brand that they ship to your house. And Chewy has done a number of things for their customers post-purchase that keeps them coming back. And these are like those above and beyond moments. So one example that I think is really, really cool is they actually have sent out pet portraits to their customers, unprompted, of the pets that they have. So they'll hire an artist, the artist will create a pet portrait, the pet portrait will be sent to the person, and it is a gift in the mail for them. Another thing that is really, really smart that they do is actually when a pet passes away as well. So they are thinking about the entirety of the buyer journey, right? And not just the purchase, but even when these people are no longer going to be purchasing from them. And I want you to pay really close attention to this. So when someone's pet passes away, and they go and mark it in the system, because you'll go on to Chewy, you'll say, hey, please stop delivering these items, because oftentimes they're on a subscription. Chewy then sends a handwritten letter saying, I'm sorry for your loss. It's signed by the team. Sometimes they send flowers. Now, mind you, this is going to cost them a little bit extra, but that extra added touch makes people feel, number one, cared for, but also they remember Chewy when they get another pet. Most pet owners are going to have more than one pet in their lifetime. And by doing this small gesture that on a spreadsheet is going to cost money, actually brings such a high ROI for the company, because these people not only are going to come back and purchase from Chewy again, but are then telling people about how kind Chewy, this large company, took the time to send them a personalized letter saying, I'm sorry for your loss. Now, again, Chewy is, like I said, a very large company. And these are just some of the things that they do to build out those happily ever after moments with their customers. But if you're watching this, you may not be a large company. So I want to make sure that we're diving into the things that you can be doing in your brand and branded experience to get customers coming back. So you hear me talking about the buyer journey a lot. You'll see it in other videos too. I've mentioned it quite a bit here. And these are the steps that a buyer is going to go through up to the purchase point and after that. And in these branded experiences, what you want to be thinking about is, number one, what is going to make this customer feel cared for? Number two, is there anything that I can be doing to make the customer want to come back and purchase again? Maybe it's providing more information. Maybe there's another product that you can offer them that pairs well with what they have purchased or another service, anything like that. And then number three, what are some of those surprise and delights things that I could add in that feel just a little bit special? So let's break those three down. The first one, what would make your people feel human? Now this one can kind of tie into the special pieces, but let's just think about it from a communication standpoint. For example, let's say that you are a service provider. I work a lot with service providers. You have just delivered a service. We're going to use graphic design for an example because I'll give you an example of what I've done. I've just delivered a finished design project to a client. Now, I could be like, cool, awesome, done, like you have your stuff, you don't need me anymore. But instead, I have done regular check-ins to ask, hey, how is this file treating you? Are there any changes that you feel like need to be adjusted based on the way that you want to be using this? Are there any additional things that you can think of that may pair nicely with this? Sometimes I also offer suggestions of, hey, I see that we did this. This is really, really neat. This could actually be applied across these other areas. And what this does is this starts to make you feel like a strategic partner for your buyers. And it also shows them that you actually care. I'm not making any extra money off of saying, hey, how is the file treating you? After doing a checkup. But what that does do is it shows my clients, hey, I want to make sure that you know that I'm going to take care of you. And if this file isn't serving you the way that you need it to, let me know and we can get that adjusted. And that builds a much tighter trust between the client and you as the service provider because they know and they can feel that they're not just a transaction to you. And that is the key with this framework. My goal as a brand designer and strategist is to help you make sure that your clients don't feel like a transaction, that they feel a real connection to you and your brand. Now, let's talk about number two. So this is kind of thinking ahead and thinking of ways that you could be helpful for your client. I'm going to use the example of, let's say, a wedding photographer, right? So you have taken these beautiful photos, you've done everything at the wedding, but maybe there are additional things that the bride and groom might be interested in. Maybe you've got some connections with people who host anniversary parties or who do special deals for honeymoons or anything like that. Like that would be a great resource to share with your clients to show them, hey, I know that you've had this situation or you are experiencing this really great life experience. Here are some other things that'll help make it great. Some other people that I know who may be a great addition to what you're already doing. Another example could be, so I, again, deliver branding and brand guidelines to people. I recently created a video that shows them how to use the brand guidelines. I heard from a lot of people, okay, like I get these really cool things. I've worked with a designer. Now what do I do? The video then walks them through, okay, you've got this awesome stuff. Here's how to implement it in your business. See how I'm taking care of the client in that process? Even though they already purchased, I already gave them the deliverables that they paid for, but this is going that extra mile to make sure that they feel taken care of and see me as a partner for them. And then we can talk about those surprise and delights because, oh my gosh, everyone loves those. I don't know about you, but like a really huge one that comes to mind for me are like handwritten letters or little gifts. So something that I used to do for some of my smaller branding projects is after we would do a logo design, I would send them a little sample pack of stickers that were their logo. This was unprompted. I never told them that they were going to be getting this, and they would receive it in the mail, and it would feel like this really nice surprise. So what are some things that you could do for your clients? The easiest one is just a thank you card. If you can't do a thank you card, you can send an email, but I always think that a handwritten card says so much more to your clients and customers than an email does. Maybe there's something else. Maybe if we go to the wedding photographer example, maybe you give them a little extra package. Maybe you give them a print that wasn't included in their package or something along those lines, just something that goes above and beyond and makes them feel good about having worked with you. And when those things happen, your people are far more likely to go and tell someone else about the amazing experience they had with your brand. Now, these are just a few ideas that you can start implementing, but the list is truly endless. And if you're wondering, okay, well, am I ready for this phase? What are the other parts of the framework? I do have a brand attractiveness assessment that you can take. I'll link it down in the description, and it's going to tell you some of the areas in your brand and your brand experience that may be missing. So if you want to check that, see how you're doing on your brand attractiveness scale, definitely do so. The link is going to be down there. And if you want to create a really strong branded experience for your customers from start to finish, I am more than happy to help you. I have done this for a number of clients. We have gotten phenomenal results. I've got samples in the video playlist that I have here on YouTube. I really, really enjoy going through my framework with my clients, those 5 pieces that help them feel good in the brand that they're building and feel aligned with it, but also attract the kind of clients that they work best with. And it all comes with that happily ever after moment for them. That sounded kind of weird, but we'll keep it in there anyways. But the happily ever afters of making sure that we're building those long-term relationships with their clients, increasing that CLV, and getting that retention. So if you want to do that, check out the links in the description below. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, send it to your friends, whatever makes you feel good, and I will see you in the next one.